Okay, I appear to be live. Oh, wait, it's doing something? Yeah, now we appear to be live.
There you go.
Hello, it's Chris with my lovely fiance Lexie, and this is Alberta election night coverage.
Hello.
We have a pretty eventful election today. I don't think it's going to last very long. I'm thinking like maybe about an hour, give or take. But we will see.
I'm hoping maybe like about an hour, give or take.
It is getting on the later side here, but it is what it is.
And we're lame old adults now that need to get up in the morning and can't stay up past midnight.
Yeah, you know, day jobs and all. But
With wife? Almost. Coming soon.
coming soon.
Wife coming
An
soon.
unclear time. That's okay, Rocco.
Hello, Rob.
I know you were excited about another live stream.
Chris was excited about this too.
This is a big night. You know, if this night goes as I've been forecasting, I will be able to say for the first time in my career of election forecasting that my mutual will have won an election.
Good evening, beautiful people. Hello, Legit Hack Source. Hi, Jared Walsh. Life indeed. We all know Smith has a great chance of winning tonight. If Nutley resigns tonight in a couple days or a couple weeks, could you see Smith winning between 10 to 16 seats? What do you think?
Like a 10 to 16 seat lead, I think that seems pretty likely. And also, keep audience, just keep us a heads up on audio, if the audio sounds balanced or not, if it's too loud, too quiet. It's a new setup again, because we always do new setups.
Yeah.
Why would you have the same setup?
I think we've done the last 3 streams have been 3 different setups. Curious what you think the Alberta election will show for trends for the federal elections, if anything.
Bear with me 1 second.
He's busy making polls. Because he can't stop for even a second. Can't hear the CTV news. That's okay. They're not saying anything.
Yeah, there's currently actually...
It's just because they're not saying anything.
Okay.
We can't hear it either.
So I've put a poll in to see what the audience thinks who's going to win. We will see. PF. So on the... What the trends here might go... How they might affect the federal... I don't know if there's going to be much to gain unless the NDP win. If the NDP wins, then we can really kind of glean that there might... Calgary and Edmonton might be regressing to the mean of urban centers. But if the UC people had a win here, I don't think there's really anything to say per se. Maybe we can look at vote intensities, but as of tonight, it's going to be too difficult to really call.
American here to check how the province of our northern neighbor is doing. Hopefully they're doing good.
Hopefully blue, but we don't know for sure.
What are good seats for the UCP? Like, what I think that means what would be a good number of seats for the UCP?
I think anything between 51 and 57 is likely. You could see like something like ridiculous, like 62 or 63 in like the absolute best possible case scenario. I don't think that's going to happen, but it is conceivable.
Conceivable.
It's within the realm of possibility. I think it's very unlikely. Like, I don't like percent chances, but that would be like 2% chance kind of stuff, right? Like, it'd be like everything went right tonight, and that never happens. But if everything did go right, that could happen.
Spain's going to the polls in July.
Yes, that's going to be interesting. I think there was regional elections. I wasn't paying too much attention. I was busy with Alberta recently, but I think the right in Spain like dominated the regional elections recently, so that could be quite a big deal. Maybe Spain will regress back to... Regress? That's the wrong word. Revert back to a more conservative style they had in the last 500 years of Spain.
Progress back.
They were very progressive the last 30 years.
Greetings, some guy. Do you think we could see a Tory effect tonight?
If the polls aren't underestimating the Conservatives, I will be stupefied.
Tory effect is when they underestimate Conservative voters?
I assume he's referring to the shy Tory effect, and that's basically the Tories the right tends to outperform polling. I'm trying to think here. I don't remember the last time in Canada the right underperformed polling numbers. Now, some people say maybe 2012 in Alberta, but I don't think 2012 Alberta counts because the PCs were like center-right and the Wild Rose was right-wing. And the Wild Rose underperformed, but the PCs overperformed, so that's just a net neutral. Like one right-wing party did bad and the other did really well.
Were the U.S. midterms an underperformance, or
No.
were they just an on-point performance
and
everybody got too excited?
They were an on-point performance. The polls were completely accurate for the first time in a while in the U.S.
What do you think about Smith's non-refundable tax credit for graduates who stay in Alberta and signing bonuses for certain skilled workers? Like medical graduates or just everybody?
I think that it might do something. I haven't looked through all this stuff, but I assume it's being targeted at medical workers, and that would be the big thing every province is trying to do right now. Though in the grand scheme, I don't think it's going to really do much because every province is going to be doing that, and every province is going to be trying to steal all the medical workers. So unless we get licensing reform or something, it's not going to really matter.
Is Alberta bleeding doctors?
They're not necessarily bleeding doctors, but everyone needs more doctors.
I suppose.
And there's only so many trained.
CTV, where you keep going?
I think they're
cutting to commercials.
They're cutting to commercials for sure. So
can UCP win Calgary elbow? Show your elbow to your wife.
This is Calgary. Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong screen. So we're gonna cut over here. Look, we have a little map insert, and this is actually just from CBC, but it's good enough. This is Calgary elbow right here for people who are unsure on what Calgary elbow is. It's this little elbow-shaped writing.
Yes, that's what my elbows look like for sure.
And if we pop over here, we can see my projections. That was the wrong one. This one. You can see my projections here, and you can see in both of them I have actually Calgary elbow going UCP. This is to the left. This is if they perform like the PC party has historically, and on the right is if they perform like the Wild Rose party historically. So we'll see which assumption is more accurate tonight.
Now, why is Calgary elbow important?
So in 2019, the last election, Calgary elbow had a very large Alberta party vote in it. It was about 30-ish%, and the UCP was about 40-ish, and the NDP were about 20-ish. And it looks like the Alberta party voters have, on aggregate, moved to the NDP. So if they have actually done that, and they've mostly broken NDP, this writing should go NDP, Calgary elbow. But if there is some more complexity there, or the vote split isn't uniform, we could see this going UCP. And I think it will, because the polls have, to me, said that the Alberta party voters aren't all breaking NDP. It's just, it appears that way. It's like an illusion, because a lot of these things, when you look at post-mortem, you're like, oh, this party lost 100,000 votes, and this one gained 100,000 votes. People went from A to B. That's not really how it goes. It's much more complicated. There's probably lots of voters who left the electorate, voters who joined the electorate. People changed parties. It's much more complicated and messy than anyone usually considers it.
Lame.
Complexity.
Although, I guess that's exciting for your types.
Sadly, we don't get really good exit polls in Canada. And now some people can rag on exit polls that they're inaccurate and stuff like that. But we get almost none in Canada, so we can't even complain about
something's better than nothing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Surprise move, Alberta votes to separate from Canada. Base, TBH. Skilled workers like working in the oil fields. That makes sense.
I think Nova Scotia is actually trying to do a similar tax credit here, but it's...
No, stop coming.
What?
We don't need people
here. No, it's only for new grads in Nova Scotia.
Okay.
So if you went to school in Nova Scotia, you get a tax credit to stay here. And by the way, just a heads up, there's only coal fields over here, so you don't want to come here.
There's no ocean. It's gone.
Ocean, it's gone.
The ocean's gone.
It's evaporated. Global warming was right. It's gone.
Ooh, can't see Alberta. Oh. Rocco thinks Alberta will be more populous than BC in 2040 and Quebec in the 2060s. Can't see Alberta passing Ontario because Ontario is keeping up the growth, which is surprising. Might be my bias talking about Ontario because I'm from there. And then we have Ontario fan. Do you think Alberta's population is growing like that?
The difficulty with I think in the long term, Alberta, right now, a lot of things can happen, but I think Alberta probably will overtake BC in population just because the housing prices in places like Kelowna and the lower mainland are just so high compared to Alberta that I think we're going to see fewer immigrants from either the rest of Canada or from foreign countries going there. And nowhere in Canada has a positive birth rate, so natural growth is just irrelevant anyways at this point. And I'll caveat that. We do have natural growth still. It's just the natural growth is shrinking every single year. And I think actually BC is one of the lowest fertility rates, so they are growing the slowest naturally.
Weird. Do you think if the UCP doesn't win tonight that they'll break up?
It depends on how bad they lose. If it's like one of those cheeky 44-43 scenarios where the NDP just barely won, they'll probably survive, though they'll probably move to a different type of leader than Smith. I was speculating this a little bit on Twitter with people earlier today, but I'm not. It's hard to say until people throw their hats in the ring who could throw their hats in the ring, because there are people who you just aren't notable because they're not in topic right now, like they're not present in the media, but then they announce themselves and you're like, oh yeah, that guy exists, or that person is there. So it's hard to say who could come in, but I would estimate if the UCP barely loses, they probably go to a more establishment-y candidate, Smith being more populist. But if the UCP gets slapped and it's not close, it's like 50 seats NDP, I think the UCP disintegrates. There's no way it survives. Now, conversely, I think there's actually a very high chance that if the NDP loses by a lot, let's say let's bring this up. If this scenario is correct and we see 57-30, I think there's a good chance the NDP soft disintegrates. The NDP won't split into two parties, but the centrist votes that they've taken from the Alberta Party and the Alberta Liberal Party will probably go back, quote unquote, home. And the Alberta NDP will recede a bit. And probably won't be a real threat for another 8-10 years.
Man, check out the haircut on this guy. He got that 5 minutes before this interview.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I'm here to distract from the real issues. Calgary Albo had two premiers, one in 1993 and 2012. Oh, neat.
Now, the real question is, which of these ridings is going to be the first one to be called? It's probably going to be one of these rural ones.
Oh man, I wonder where the cities are.
What?
Lex, are you Darth Vader because we all hear you? What?
We don't understand what you mean by this, Rocco.
I mean, I'll take it. I'm just yawning. I'm very tired.
Yeah, I had to wake up from a nap.
It's like my second week of work.
It is what it is.
Yeah, now we're good.
We good, fam.
Oh, if you're trying to show that map, it's not up.
Aha.
There you go.
Now, one of the interesting writings...
That's an interesting little set of writings there.
One of the interesting writings for tonight will be Lacombe Panoka? My pronunciation is always so bad. But anyways, this reason why this is interesting is Jennifer Johnson's been disavowed by the UCP, but that was after the candidate deadline. So she is on the ballot as the UCP party member, but she won't be sitting in caucus if she wins because of comments she made vis-a-vis like gender issues and nonsense that no one really cares about in reality. But she was disavowed from the party because of it, because elections in Canada, people, the good old stuff. Oh, you might hear a train in the background.
There's the train.
So the real question, or the interesting thing with this writing is, will she win still? I assume yes. And if she does she end up being the swing vote for confidence in Parliament? Do we get the 43-43 with one independent? does this happen? I almost want this to happen because it'd be funny.
I don't know, man.
Some of the stuff is like wish casting what would be funny.
Wish casting. He looks at me like I've got something intelligent to add to this debate. We hear deep breathing in the mic. Yeah, it's just me yawning. I'm not It's not deep breathing. It's just constant yawning. I've yawned like 10 times since we started.
We've actually secretly replaced Lexie with Darth Vader.
I would mute every time I yawned, but I'm sharing a microphone with Chris, so can't really.
Yeah, we're not a
that.
professional setup here.
Nah, not even close.
One day we might be. One day in the far future, when we have more dollar signs, and by more dollar signs I mean literally any dollar signs from this, we'll probably have we'll have like a studio. That's the future goal.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But we gotta build up to
two
this.
separate studios.
That's why everyone listening here should subscribe and share this to their friends, because if we get those, we get the YouTube dollars, and then we can use YouTube dollars for a studio.
I could be Darth Lexie though. I'd take that.
We
Sith are cool.
We could have her dress up in a Darth Vader costume.
Sith are cool. Jedi are lame. Speaking of... Oh yeah, that guy exists. This is more a U.S. politics thing, but all these randos running for president this year polling at -1%. Randos like Ron DeSantis.
Studio full of bagels. Honestly, that'd be a good meme. We'll have like a live stream on like an April 1st sometime, and it's just the studio and there's like cameras, but it's just different bagels.
Oh, that'd be cute. Oh, how far are you from the fires? So we are not personally close to the fires, but we did drive by the smoke, and that was freakish.
It was a giant plume. It was like...
Well, if you were anywhere in Halifax, you'd see the smoke.
There was probably 50 to 100 kilometer arc where the smoke was reducing the sunlight.
Yeah, you'd drive under it and it would just be cloudy.
There's been actually a bunch of communities that have basically been fully evacuated, and they're likely going to just be completely destroyed by the fire. It's unclear how much. It was actually really close to actual parts of places that people live.
Yeah, a bunch more houses have burned down, I hear.
Yeah. Do we have this here? Haha. So we have a relatively up-to-date map of where the wildfires are, and you can see here. So over here, this starts to be like Sackville, and Halifax is a bit over here. So this is like an ex-urban area of Halifax, and it's somewhat densely populated, but then you start going over here and you actually start getting to real urban areas, and the fire is still advancing as far as I'm aware. So
yeah, like the far right side where his cursor is, that's like Bedford. That's basically Halifax.
Yeah, but we are nowhere near this at all.
No, we're not close to this, and like
we're not even in this county.
Yeah, especially now. But even before.
Oh, we were in that county before.
Yeah, but we weren't getting our houses burned down before.
No.
But a lot of people we know, like, you know, everyone knows someone who knows somebody.
Yeah.
So it's like a big deal for everybody right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a huge, like, these things don't really usually happen in Nova Scotia. Like, these big uncontrolled fires.
Especially not anywhere near close to populated areas.
It was just a really bad, because we've had a super dry summer so far, or spring, I guess. It just hasn't been raining. It hasn't been... It was... Like, this weekend was the first time it's been hot pretty much all year.
Oh, it was like 32 degrees yesterday.
Yeah, it was really hot, but it hasn't been hot. It just hasn't been raining. It's been like 10, 15 degrees and just not raining, so everything is super dry, and it does not take much.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris and I have different theories on how the fire started. He's convinced it's arson.
It's totally arson.
I'm convinced that it was just somebody doing yard work on the first nice day of the year and burning weeds like an idiot. And it was really windy that day, and it's really easy to lose control of weed fires.
Look, the thing I've learned in my life is a lot of fires are caused by climate people.
Global ended their stream. And a lot of people at my work were speculating cigarette butts, of course, but I don't know. I'm not convinced.
I don't think a cigarette butt
I don't know if that's enough.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you're in Arizona or something, but I don't know if that's enough here.
Legit Hacksworth said it's been 30 for 5 straight days, and it's supposed to be that way all till Sunday.
That's gross.
You're in what, Northern Ontario, right? That's ridiculous.
Disgusting.
This is unfit.
No seats called yet. Yeah, I'm suffering.
There have been, as far as I can tell, no votes even counted yet, which is strange because all the advanced polls should already be tabulated, so I don't know why they're not already out.
Wait, why did Global just end their stream? What happened? They haven't even counted anything yet. Why are they sad?
Global is inferior, I guess. They got it.
Was it Global we were following for the conservative? Who were you watching? What, that was being ridiculous for some election.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I remember Global being stupid for some reason.
I use different sources basically every single time because it's my little secret is whichever news thing we throw in the background, because I have determined in the past that you do kind of need to have something in the background to cue off of sometimes when you have when it starts getting quiet, because sometimes it does get quiet. But
he's got the pro strats.
I just picked the first one that shows up in Google.
Yeah, we're not consistent.
We're not consistent. Though I will say, as much as I dislike CBC, the CBC election night map is definitely the easiest. Oh, we got Peace River called here. Ooh. This was unsurprising. Oh, it has 12 votes for the UCP so far.
Exactly 12, and we've called it here.
We're calling it. There's no way it's going elsewhere. That vote drop. That was it. Again, the seats to say tonight are Lethbridge East here.
Safe UCP, 12 votes. Yep.
Banff, Kananaskis. This entire section of Calgary, except these inner ridings. These 4 ridings here, those aren't in consideration, but these other ones. God damn it. Okay, now we have a map again. So we're going to do this back from the beginning. The ridings to watch for tonight are Lethbridge East here, Banff, Kanaskis over here, the outer core of Calgary, so roughly this area.
The egg white of Calgary.
The outer core of Edmonton, around this.
The egg white of Edmonton.
And that's it. That's all that's the only thing we're watching for tonight. And Jared, the reason why we are at CTV is it's the first one that popped up when I searched it, and it doesn't really matter.
Nah, they're all counting the same votes. We had a big fire in 2012 that was around my cottage, caused by the forest being so dry, and trains causing fires. Oh, I never thought of that, but that makes a lot of sense.
I guarantee you trains did not cause the 1 in 10 Talon.
I don't think there's trains in there.
I don't think there's a single train track in that entire section of...
Now, there are trains in Bedford, but they're surrounded by concrete.
Well, they're talking about Peace River here now. Well, 2 whole UCP seats. The real question is, how many minutes do we go until we have an election win? Because it'll be pretty... Like, once a couple of these seats in I'm on the wrong map again. Back to here. Once a bunch of these seats here in Calgary are called, that's we pretty much know the outcome of the election here. Oh, that one vote. Does that mean there was an entire precinct and only one person voted in it? That's ridiculous.
Do you think that the polling, like, they just kind of figured it out, like, and they counted that one vote and they're like, yeah, that seems about right?
This should actually be a safe NDP riding. So it'd be really... That's the wrong one. This one here. This should be a safe NDP riding. So if it ends up going to the Conservatives by 1 vote, that would be comical.
That's very interesting.
But it's probably just the fact that they picked one random precinct first. Rocco, to answer your question about the U.S., right now it looks like... I mean, obviously Biden's probably going to win the nomination. He actually has a serious challengers, but I don't think it's going to be enough to actually unseat a sitting president in their own primary. And the Republican primary looks like it's already game, set, match.
I'm sad about
things. Wilder things have happened before, but Trump's polling over 50%, so if he manages to lose the primary with over 50% polling right now, that would be shocking. And they keep getting more and more people throwing in their hats who get like 1% of the vote, and it's not from Trump's, so they're just splitting the non-Trump vote. So it's like, what?
I don't know what that was about. I think it was a very strange timing for Ron DeSantis to throw his hat in.
I think DeSantis should have either declared earlier or stayed out.
I think he should have waited. He's got like 50 years ahead of him, man.
Like, declaring in May, I think he already threw it. He should have declared in January if he was going to declare.
I like him too much. I don't want him to lose. But, like, he's not going to win.
Governor elections? I've not been paying any attention to the U.S. governor elections, Rocco.
More about the structure of them. If they should be done the way the president is done. It seems like a lot of...
I have not been paying much attention to the U.S., so... I can give you broad strokes, but not anything specific policy-wise. I do agree DeSantis is more polished, but I do, like... What's the way to phrase this? I don't know who's better, actually. Like, I if I was to recommend to the Republicans, I don't know which one I would actually recommend. It's difficult.
Well, that's the thing. You don't want two equally decent candidates running at the same time. You'd prefer to spread them out over 2 elections.
Yeah.
Get 8 years out of them instead of 4, you know? Because I don't know if you come back from getting absolutely stomped in a primary with Trump as your opponent.
We got another precinct that had 1 voter in it.
Minister of Culture.
That's hilarious. What are all these 1 precinct polls? Or 1 vote precincts?
Alberta really wants the UCP to win as well.
Well, I mean, so far, we're at 63-26. Like, this is... If we call it right now, this is an utter landslide, completely destroying the NDP. The NDP's finished.
So, those vote numbers, like, those aren't, like, votes that they've counted. Like, what does that mean?
This is votes they've counted.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Look, all these early precinct drops have so few votes in them that if this continues like this is going to be a very low turnout race. Now, obviously, they probably the ones finishing first are probably the smallest precincts because they have the fewest votes. Mm-hmm. So the biggest drops will probably come last. So you actually might expect that some of the precincts in like places like Calgary, Strathcona here, Notley's riding, because I was recently corrected today that it's actually pronounced Notley, and I've been pronouncing it wrong for 8 months, and no one thought to mention it to me.
How about Nopley?
Nopley?
Nopley.
We'll go with Nopley for tonight. Good evening, Payotine, Canadian Rams fan. That's a fun name to say. But what is it saying is, places like Nopley's riding here, these precincts are probably going to be quite big, because it's a fairly small riding. And generally, the smaller it is, the bigger the precincts. The fewer the precincts, and the more voters are in each precinct. And the bigger the riding, the more precincts, and the fewer voters in them.
Meskwakis Wetaskiwin?
Yep. Now you understand my pain when I try to pronounce all of these. I think there should be a law saying that all ridings have to have phonetic pronunciations.
You need to have, like, the dashes and the weird dictionary symbols.
Okay, so far the only ridings that actually have votes that matter are Calgary Foothills and Calgary Buffalo, and each has 1 vote cast. So, you know, full counting tonight. Now, assuming everyone under the sun isn't wrong, every forecaster I could name you, there's many, but I won't name them all. Assuming we're not all wrong, and the UCP wins this, and they win by a comfortable margin, it'll be very interesting to see if Notley resigns tonight or if they wait. I would be surprised if Notley, or Notley? Nopley. I would be surprised if she ran again. Just on the fact that she's 59 currently, so she'll be 63 the next election, and very few politicians run at that age. Very, very, very few. And after 2 consecutive election defeats,
Wait, can you get rid of the map real quick? Quickly. Look at the picture for this Kami Das. It's like a profile picture instead of an actual person.
This one?
No, the Solidarity Comrades picture. Oh, it's
Oh.
gone. That was very strange. Sorry, I had to draw attention to that. That was very odd.
Ontario fan on Eric Garnier. I haven't really seen much of his work. I know he used to work at CBC as basically this job that I'm doing right now. Mind you, like the mapping side of it. I never really followed his work, and I never really followed him particularly, so I don't really know. I haven't actually looked at his stuff. I don't know what his forecast is. He seems competent, but I've not followed his stuff, so I don't really know. I know he's apparently good friends with Philip Fournier from 338, so I presume he's at least good, or else, I don't know why Fournier would be hosting podcasts with him. That'd be weird, because Fournier's good at this. You don't normally have someone who's good at this hosting it with some random pleb. Unless the random pleb is their fiance.
Yeah, I'm the guest pleb. I'm here to represent the people.
She's a woman of the people.
I'm a woman of the people. Yeah, if I was going to describe myself, that's what I'd say.
Elect Lexie Cole as President of the United States.
I'm a woman of the people. I don't want to be president. God, I'd
Oh,
myself.
here, the first flip of the night. The first 8 votes in Bonnieville Cold Lake St. Paul. It's going NDP clearly.
Show them the map.
Oh, shoot. The NDP did it and they flipped. Safe UCPC. I'm just being silly here. That's the tiredness getting into you.
Mm-hmm.
So far, we're not safe right now. Everything's safe.
Never safe.
Well, we have some more popping up here in Calgary we can look at. Again, 1 vote. Are these just like the ministers voting?
Is this literally one person that voted? Is it them? Is it the guy himself?
It must be.
Is this Astrid Kuhn who voted?
It has to be. This is ridiculous.
Also, what do the asterisks mean?
That means they're the incumbent.
Aha.
I'm trying to find one where there isn't an incumbent.
There's a lot of incumbent. Oh my gosh.
I don't know. There's plenty of incumbent.
Darth Lexie coming in.
NDP 2023. Oh, we're starting to get lots of ridings coming in now.
Wizard.
But we still have basically no votes cast, so a lot of this looks like things are coming in quick, but I mean, again,
single votes are coming in quick.
Single votes, and there's not many ridings that are actually interesting. Like, this is a riding that this would be interesting if it wasn't for the fact this is 4 votes. So
even 75% conservative.
Oh, look at this one.
Oh, that's
Edmonton
close.
Castle Downs, 2 whole votes. Rocco, to go back to your last comment because you're taking it. There is pros and cons with flying everybody in Washington. I don't want to. This is about Alberta tonight, so I don't want to go too into U.S. stuff. I will save that for
give Alberta their day.
Whenever I start doing U.S. coverage, which honestly, it'll probably be in the late fall, early winter, because we're so far away from anything, and none of the races look interesting. I might even skip the primary season at all, because the primaries in the U.S. look so boring right now.
Yeah, nothing's really happening for them.
Like, unless DeSantis or someone else closes up the Republican primary, it's not interesting. Like, we're looking at, 40-point lead or something right now, or 30 points. Like, that's not interesting. Like,
we're going to have another old man fight. It's going to be great. But it's going to be in a couple of years.
Yep. I really wish some of these writings would actually count, because these ones here are actually the interesting ones that actually matter, but we only have 1 voter.
And I'm pretty sure it's Rajan Sani.
It'd be really funny if Rajan Sani voted for her opponent.
Oh, that's a woman? Okay.
Yeah, see you right here.
Uh-huh. Now, while we wait for votes to come in, I need you to explain some of these riding borders to me.
Like what?
You have several ridings completely encapsulated by other ridings like Vatican City. What's up with that?
Like this?
No, there's... Here, give me the mouse. There was one up here. This one.
Oh.
Who's this? What's happening here?
Okay, so this is the city of Grand Prairie. I think about 100-ish thousand people, or 50-ish thousand. I don't know.
And it gets one riding?
And it gets one riding. And then this is just everything around it. It's a strange draw, but it makes sense, right? Like, you're not going to have... You're not going to split the... We're not the U.S. We're not gerrymandering these ridings. We're not going to split the city of Grand Prairie into two parts to have a bunch of rurals. And I mean, not that it matters, because Grand Prairie is going to be safe UCP anyways, but it could matter in some places. Like, you could totally gerrymander the hell out of Edmonton. Like, you could just draw some, like, ridiculous swooping districts into this.
Oh, we got some more of them down here. In the middle there. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Red Deer.
Oh, okay. So it's just where the cities are.
It's just where the city is. But Red Deer's big enough that it gets two ridings.
Oh, how fancy for them. They have a very even distribution of cities in Alberta. Very interesting.
There's a bunch of people actually suggesting that Alberta should build high-speed rail from Calgary to Edmonton going through Red Deer.
Is high-speed rail worth it ever?
I have no idea.
If you're not in, like, a tiny little country like Japan?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I feel like high-speed rail is one of those things that lefties simp over without really knowing.
I do know that a lot of the high-speed rail China built was just to prolong their construction bubble. Oh, we actually have a real poll count from Calgary Edmonton here. It's only 2 out of 18, but you know this is more than one vote. It's more than one vote.
The Wild Rose even got 2 votes.
Yeah. There's all sorts of third parties this election too. It'll be interesting to see where they all end up. Let's show all the results. Look, 29 independent votes, 12 Solidarity Movement of Alberta, 5 Independence Party of Alberta, 8 Wild Rose Loyalty Cult. There's so many of these. And then you have the Advantage Party, the Buffalo, or the Pro-Life Party, the Buffalo Party, Wild Rose Independence Party. Like,
wait, what? There's two Wild Rose parties?
Yes.
This is what we do to ourselves.
People decided to go full silly on this election with how many silly little parties they made.
Are most of those of the conservative persuasion?
Most of these are the conservative persuasion.
This is how we're cringe. We do this to ourselves.
The one that is actually somewhat interesting is the Green Party of Alberta. Does it actually get more votes than the Alberta Party? It has more candidates, so it has more capacity to gain votes. But will it? The Alberta Party was more significant in the past elections, but is it going to be significant in this one? Probably not, because it didn't nominate many people, but you never know. Oh, the NDP's winning now. They have more votes. Some of these precincts that just got called must have been... No, that's not that one. It was not that one. That's a big precinct drop. This is like 1,000 votes.
Okay, here we go.
We're starting to get real places being counted.
So, some of these gigantic rural ridings are going to go NDP, or is this early?
This is early.
So that's weird, and you wouldn't expect that to happen?
You would not expect this to happen. I think this is just the polls that were broken in. Like, if Livingstone McLeod broke NDP, that would be shocking.
Okay.
No one would have expected that if that happens.
I was wondering if they had like a scenario like we've seen where you'll randomly have a rural riding in the middle of a bunch of other conservative rural ridings that's just NDP for demographic reasons.
The only one like that could be Banff Kanaskus. And I don't know 100% of the details about this, but I understood that this is like rich person cottage country.
Banff is nice.
So if anyone's from Alberta, you could correct me, but I don't know the demographics of every place that well. So for some reason, this is like more NDP than the others. The other one would be Lesser Slave Lake, but this one has a bunch of natives in it who historically have voted NDP, but might be shifting more right-wing these days.
Based. Will the Communist Party split the NDP vote? The Communist Party is the NDP vote, some guy. The Alberta Party seem to have a great platform, but they run almost no campaign and have no presence in the province. Yeah, I've never heard of them. I mean, I don't live in Alberta, but I've never heard of them.
They ran the goofiest possible campaign. Like, if you, some of their campaign things came up on, like, through election circles, you know, like places like election Twitter over the campaign, and they were just silly. Like, it's like they weren't even. It looked like they were high schoolers LARPing as a political party.
Model parliament.
Yeah, basically. Well, Danielle Smith is winning her own riding right now. 2 of 30 polls.
Yo.
Man, this girl in the CTV coverage sounds very similar to Danielle Smith.
Does she?
I almost thought she was Danielle Smith for a second.
We can only dream. Danielle Smith for him is like Pierre for me.
That's inaccurate.
He talks about her all the time.
Because that's the election I'm covering.
He wants her so bad to win.
I do, though.
He loves her very much. Yep.
So far, so good. It's treading water, but we'll see. Currently, the UCP is leading in 16 seats, but again, we don't really have any seats that were in doubt so far brought up. I'm looking forward to the one day the Rhino Party winning.
Hang on.
What?
Listen to this. Ha-ha. Ha-ha. So, the question was, what are you the most scared of if the UCP wins the election? Very sincere and unbiased question. And he's like, well, I mean, what will foreign investors think if they see what some of her comments and the crazy talk?
No one cares.
They'll think she's based.
No one cares about comments anymore. It's not a thing. I wish people would just stop.
Who's thinking like, man, I'm gonna start oil drilling in Alberta, but then like, oh man, the premier, she said Vaxport people were Nazis. I'm not going there. Like, I don't think that's a thing.
Okay, is the TV stream louder? Can you hear it now? I have it quiet because I didn't want it to overdrown us, but it's hard to say.
And here's a few more results here
yeah, it's hard to tell.
Because it's loud enough for me, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's loud enough for you. Okay, that's perfect now.
Oh, okay, perfect. Scotia Lakes is like... oh god, Kananaskis.
And the Alberta Party leader
for Ontario, but for some...
a little bit behind in third place.
For some reason, it still... It still votes Tory for some reason.
And in Bonnyville, Cold Lake, St.
Yeah.
Paul, Caitlin Blake.
That makes sense.
A lot of...
Sorry, Marion. It's late for us. We're struggling.
A lot of bougie cottage places tend to vote left because they do for some reason. I don't actually know. Actually, in Nova Scotia...
I don't know. Who owns bougie cottages?
Bougie people.
Who do bougie people vote for?
Apparently left-wingers.
Yeah, that's pretty usual.
The quote-unquote...
Champagne socialist is a term for a reason.
The quote-unquote cottage country in Nova Scotia... what's the word for it? The South Shore tends to vote more liberal than the cottage country. We're gonna mute the audio and we're minimize this. We don't need to watch an ad. There, now we have an ad again. Let's see. I'm just going to bring this up if I can find it.
I think the level on the coverage is a little bit high compared to us.
Is the coverage now too loud, everybody?
Well, like PF said, it is our stream. We get to do louder than the coverage if we want to.
Okay. It's hard to balance this
Just
because
about, yeah. That should be good.
we are complete noobs.
We're working on it.
We've done this many times, but that doesn't mean we're good at it.
Well, every coverage has different.
Audio balance.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I love looking at these maps of Nova Scotia where it's like all the population's like a ring around the perimeter of the province.
So now we're going to take an interlude and we're going to look at Nova Scotia. So this area right here, this is cottage country, Nova Scotia.
That is bougie cottage.
This is really bougie. Like, property in this area is like $1 million.
Those
plus.
ridings are just water.
And then you look at these, like these precincts, and they're like 40-50% liberal. Like they vote
40-50% cringe.
they vote left. So there is some correlation to cottage country and voting left. And then you have the other version of cottage country, which is like this part of Nova Scotia. Sorry, it's this part of Nova Scotia. And it's the same kind of deal around Windsor. Some of these areas around Windsor.
Not gonna lie, I would not have thought of Windsor as cottage country.
There's a lot of cottages being built there these days.
And then there's Kentville.
Oh, people want to play around with Riding Builder. It's a fun little website. There you go, it's in chat.
Then there's, no, Kentville's not what we were talking about. We were talking about Wolfville. And why Wolfville randomly votes orange.
Orange.
Or excuse me, no, Wolfville randomly votes red.
No, that's orange. Like NDP.
Oh, that is orange. Oh, you're right.
That is where Katy University is. But we're going to go back over to here because we have some more updates here. So we now have thousands of votes in. Oh, the NDP are currently winning. If this is very unlikely to happen, but if the NDP wins the vote share but loses in seats, that'd be hilarious. We were referring to Windsor, Nova Scotia.
Yeah, Windsor, Nova Scotia. There's got to be a Windsor in every province.
Probably.
Why is Ontario different is what I want to know. Oh, like Muskoka for voting Conservative? That is a good question.
Oh, Calgary Mountain View has the one vote power again.
Maybe they're just less cringe there.
The second poll closed, and now we have like 20 votes here. Jeez. Some of these...
That's got to be just about everybody.
For a place that had a lot of electric, or a lot of pre-E-Day vote tabulation, you would expect
I
this
thought
to
you
be
were going to
faster.
say for a place with a lot of electricity. Like, wow, that's pretty impressive for Alberta.
Imagine if Edmonton actually went this blue. This would be such a rout. It would never happen, but like Edmonton Mill Woods here, like if this happened, this would be wild. Like
2 votes.
we're gonna go back to this. We're gonna go to Alberta, and we're gonna run this. The glory,
Oh my god.
glory of election builder.
What the heck is that?
We're gonna go all the way in here, and like look at some of these precincts. Every single one was won by the NDP in inner city of Edmonton, except I guess for this one randomly.
Oh, those are precincts.
This is probably like a super rich precinct, honestly. Apparently, rich cottage country votes liberal. Rich urban areas vote conservative.
Muskoka is the one part of Ontario that's less cringe than Alberta, I guess.
Well,
It's funny because you don't think of Ontario being less cringe than Alberta.
and a lot of these writings that actually matter, just bringing them up here, there's still not many votes in, so it's who knows right now. Who knows?
At a door of my hometown, Edmonton went blue, but I just don't see it. What do you think? Probably not?
Edmonton?
Yeah.
Depends on which part of Edmonton you're talking about. If you're talking like Leduc, Beaumont,
Leduc?
you're probably gonna get it. This is probably gonna vote blue.
Leduc?
Leduc, Strathcona, Sherwood Park, probably blue. Fort Saskatchewan, Vegreville, probably blue. Morinville, St. Albert, maybe blue. That's probably it. You probably hit your limit.
How does the military base vote?
Which area is the military base in?
That would be Fort McMurray, right?
No, Fort McMurray is an oil town, but it's very blue.
Fort McMurray is a military base, though.
I don't know if the military base is the meaningful percentage of the population these days, though.
Is there another military base in Alberta?
I have no idea where it would be, so I don't even know where to find it.
Probably referring to Fort McMurray.
Maybe.
Well, everyone in Fort McMurray is from Newfoundland, so how does Newfoundland vote? They'll probably vote that way.
No, they're going to vote differently because other people who leave Newfoundland to go out west actually want to have, like, they left Newfoundland to make prosperity in their lives, so they're probably going to vote conservative.
If you've guys heard the song "The Idiot" by Stan Rogers, that's a good description of people.
Cold Lake.
When I say this, don't judge me unless you've heard the song and you know what I'm talking about. What I mean is, it's a good description of people who go from Atlantic Canada to out west, like to the oil fields to make money.
I don't know where Cold Lake is.
It is not a disparaging song. It is a very good song, and it speaks very highly of people that go out west to go and make money in the oil fields. But it's also like a scathing criticism of basically welfare queens. It's hilarious. It's a great song. Stan Rogers is based.
So far, it's hard to say what's really... We don't have anything decisive yet. It's really still up in the air. We got lots of... We only have like 10,000 votes in.
Pardon me, Fort Mac is not the military base. Cold Lake is the military base. We have many bases here. Okay. Stuck on the north side. The base is north of the city. Oh. Might not have its own riding. Cold Lake is far east Alberta. Oh, excuse me. South of Fort Mac. I don't know if the base you're talking about has its own...
It probably does have its own precinct, but doesn't mean I know where to find it.
If you know
Oh,
the
Cold
name
Lake. Here we go. Well, if this is the Cold Lake you're referring to, because it's the one labeled Cold Lake here, it's looking pretty blue. And I don't think anyone should be really surprised by that if this is actually a military base. Cool little app. You can also draw your own districts if you want. If you really want to be autistic and decide to gerrymander places, you have the capacity to do this. I see lots of people do that, like make maps that are like a gerrymandered Canada, and it's like, why? Why would you do that?
You heard it here, folks. Gerrymandering is autistic.
When you're just a random person and you do it for fun, yes. Like, why? I look at maps and crunch data for fun, but like gerrymandering districts, that's where I draw the line.
I do have other things to do. Cold Lake is an Air Force base. Your grandfather was stationed there in the 60s. Oh, neat. For sure it's blue and beautiful. Blue is beautiful.
Man, back when we used to fly the CF-104 Starfighter. That isn't...
We used to fly that?
Yeah.
What is that?
It is. It's a plane.
Really? I bet it is. Live Google search on stream right now.
Yeah.
Oh. That looks great.
The power of the F-104 Starfighter.
What a great image on stream. Quality content.
Quality content.
It looks like a tube of toothpaste. Doesn't it? Kinda. Or like a tube of like a canister of Pam. Or something.
It looks really derpy.
It's weird. It's like a rocket that didn't quite.
I think it's like.
Why are the wings so small?
I think it's close air support, but it might be interception. I don't know.
It looks like the short bus.
It doesn't have many rockets on it.
It's got tiny little wings.
And I don't think it has guns. Oh wait, why am I speculating? Let's look at the.
Hey,
we're gonna take a break here. Oh, it has one 20mm gun and it's 7 hard points.
Can you believe
it
that Lockheed made that plane?
It has 4 sidewinders. Where are they putting it?
It looks like a Star Wars plane.
Where?
With tiny wings.
Where do they put them?
Well, there's 2 on the ends of the wings.
That's wild. Anyways. West Yellowhead is voting NDP. It happens sometimes, you know? Like, actually 4 polls in, that's actually surprising. If we go back, oh, I have the wrong thing. we go back to this, the glory of Riding Builder. What it probably was probably this precinct probably counted first. Because, you know, if any of these other ones did, that would be surprising. Not impossible, but surprising. Because the thing you have to keep in mind is, even in some of these deep blue areas, like over here with this green writing, I don't remember which one this is, to be honest. Don't know which writing this is, but there's still yellows in this. You go, actually if you go down here, there's not many yellows, but anyways, it exists. Like, there can be precincts 1 in some of these places. Rocco said he loved the plane, and it's his favorite one. He was stationed in Germany to be one of the first to be in the USSR, aka Russia, to drop a nuke because the base was shared with the US.
Is that a nuke dropping plane?
They probably escort them.
It just, how does it fly with such little wings? It's like a bee.
Oh, the vote share's almost tied now, though the UCP is still dominating in seats. Right now the UCP is technically winning a majority.
How does that work?
What do you mean?
Are they just, is the NDP winning just really densely populated ridings?
Yeah, like look at some of these ones in like middle of Edmonton here. Like that's a bad example.
So like they have a high vote share but not many seats because they just have a lot of people?
One day I will find one of these ridings because I saw one earlier. Like this one has like a lot of votes in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Compared to the number of votes cast or counted currently, like that's a lot.
Oh, okay, so it's just skewed right now.
Yeah. Because we also see the other side of this too, where again we have like West Yellowhead, Bonnyville, Cold Lake, St. Paul, or Livingston, McLeod, which are currently going NDP because just a favorable precinct was counted.
It's always weird watching these live countings. It's like being in high school and your bright space grades going up and down all crazy.
Man, that's a throwback.
Mm-hmm. I don't even think we had bright space.
We
in
definitely
high school.
didn't have
What did
bright
we have
space.
then?
You just hoped and prayed.
What the heck did we have? We
One
had
day,
something.
one day you got papers.
Power School. We had Power School.
I don't remember. I blocked that out of my mind.
It's been a long time. It's been like 8 years. Crane was used as a first strike, dropping nukes for Canadians. Fun.
Oh, just as we spoke about it, Livingston McLeod has flipped back blue.
Chelsea Petrick. Russian collusion.
This is a riding we were not expecting to be in play at all, and it's not in play still. This is Brian Jean's riding. He came 3rd in the leadership race, so it is expected for him to be winning right now.
I'm gonna need these ridings to count faster.
They're taking a lot long. They're taking their sweet time. We're only at, how many votes total is this? Do we have? Only 136 precincts counted. Oh my lord. This is the slowest counting.
They'll probably start coming all at once soon.
I would hope so. I would assume we'll probably have a good idea in like 30 minutes. At the rate they're counting. Because it's probably going to be like one massive wave of drops.
A lot of Albertans are sad because of all the blue on the map. Oh, what's Twitter saying? I'll do some Twitter investigating. I think that's what I was supposed to be doing when we were doing the conservative leadership race. I was watching Twitter. Actually doing something, contributing to the stream. Imagine that. Tweeter.
We are just kind of in limbo land, waiting for actually some of these polls to go through. But we are starting to see something popping up in Calgary here, because we're starting to get... Never mind. I over-exaggerated this. Never mind. Scratch that.
I'm sorry. No, the very first tweet I saw when I clicked on Alberta in the trending page was just this chick named Jade who says, to all the NDP voters in Alberta that said they would move if Danielle Smith won, I will help you pack up for free. Give me a call at 587-fuck-you. Someone says, you seem nice, maybe learn some manners, and she said, do you need help packing? I'll help. Shout out to Jade. They would not want to pay a mover unless covered by taxes.
I think once these advanced polls start coming in, it will be. I mean, I think they're waiting to drop them last. Probably that's what it seems like they're doing because they should already be tabulated.
Ah!
What?
Notley has in her Twitter bio that she is a mom to children and dogs.
I don't think she has any children.
She claims to have children.
Let's look this up.
Rachel Notley, right? Notley, whoever.
Yeah.
Says she's got children.
Doesn't say on her Wikipedia page, so therefore it can't. Everyone knows Wikipedia can't be wrong. Therefore, she has no children. This is how this works. I don't make the rules, folks. That's also why.
Apparently, she also has dogs.
I can also.
And they are on par with her children. She's also a she/her.
I can also tell you objectively that because I don't have a Wikipedia page, I don't exist. Nor does Lexie. Nor does anyone in this chat.
I prefer to continue not existing.
No one is real unless you have a Wikipedia page.
Danielle Smith's a lot less cringe. She also follows Chris on Twitter.
Yes. Feels interesting being followed by a politician, which is why...
She's your mutual.
Yes. What is this? There's an eraser on the floor.
Oh, yeah, that was my fault.
Oh my god.
I'm knocking things over.
The big interesting thing for me tonight...
Oh, Alberta's flag is ugly.
Well, it's still bound to a couple of seats here. And we're starting to see this iron into what my forecast was looking like. We'll see if it stays that way. It's not, again, we're only at about 20,000 votes. I'm expecting at least 1.8 million more. So this is so early days yet.
Just the national stage, it's an international stage in some cases.
Whew.
The New York Times wrote a quite lengthy piece
But I am...
about our state of affairs.
I don't even...
Happening in Alberta. So
It's so... Like, this is the... Just to pull back the curtain, but when you're running something like this, there is this one point in an election count where just like you're just waiting for some more votes to come in because it's taking forever. But then they all come at the exact same time, and you don't have time to talk anymore. That's why like you look at like a federal election, right? And they will spend 4 years looking at like the changes in precincts in like Nova Scotia. And then you'll get to Ontario, and they'll have like 80 precincts pop at the same time the election's over.
It's the only time we get any attention. Don't give them any ideas.
Yeah.
Twitter is also commenting about maybe wait until more than one person has voted before you call a precinct.
No, I call a precinct when 0 people have voted. I'm gonna call it right now, Calgary Pagan. That's probably not how you pronounce that. 0 votes, as we can see here. It's going UCP. I'm calling it right now.
Twitter's kind of based right now, to be honest.
Oh, I think all the libs are leaving election Twitter. They're being scared off because everyone thinks you're gonna leave.
Based, honestly. Although I was hoping for cope, but
The cope comes later.
there's no cope.
The cope comes later.
Oh, no, wait, there's some cope. It's a sad day today. Between YCDSB, I don't know what that is, and Alberta results, I'm going to bed, the world is
What the
fucked.
heck is YCDSB?
I don't know.
Anyone know what YCDSB is?
This is from someone whose bio says old, libtard, and proud.
I mean, at least she owns it.
I don't think it's a satire account. I think she's just owning it. Oh, I think she's in Muskoka.
Just a few votes there. Edmonton Riverview, Laurie Sigurdsson is ahead, the incumbent, and this is
Okay, Alberta, gotta say,
Okay.
not a good flag.
Okay, the tanker boss. We're gonna make bets on ridings. We're gonna go the safe one first, okay? I bet you the NDP will not win Cardenston Siska.
Siksika?
I bet they're not gonna do that.
Question, if Danielle Smith sent you a DM to come in this live stream, would you let her on?
Yes.
I'd let her into my home.
Look, I am not unconvinced that her team was cribbing some of my suggestions because they did a lot of things that I was saying they should do. So, I mean, I don't know for certain they did it. I have no evidence and no way to prove it. But what I can say is she does follow me on Twitter, so she could have seen it. It's not impossible.
Man, nothing. Twitter's being boring. I was hoping for cope.
There was a lot of cope this morning, actually. There was a bunch of people being like, oh, this is voter suppression.
This is cute. This tweet just says, meanwhile in Alberta, and it's just a picture of, like, a nice house in the suburbs with a double rainbow over it.
Yeah, Calgary West is currently showing up as NDP here. Do I actually have the thing set up properly?
And that might be unrelated to the
But
election. That just might be a nice picture.
But there's only one vote in. Or 2 votes in, so it's not really telling you much so far. So far, let's check out what. No, only 2 votes here. So we don't really have much to say. We're in a limbo period. So since we're in a limbo period and there's not much to say, we'll take questions live, which we were already doing anyways. But this is your opportunity. Ask questions. You might get an answer. You might not get an answer. You might have your answer be interrupted because something actually interesting happens in the election.
Rocco says you have a future in this as a pollster and advisor.
That is something I am working towards.
He would very much like that. Did you watch Smith's interview with Jordan Peterson?
Probably not. I watched a bunch of his interviews with Canadian politicians. I don't remember which ones are which. A lot of them basically end up being the same in the end. Because most right-wing politicians in Canada are really overtly cautious about what they say, so they end up saying most of the same stuff. But
Yeah, because he's from Alberta, isn't he?
yeah, apparently he used to be a big NDP activist.
I mean, he was a professor.
No, but when he was like a child.
He was a child.
One day he was a child.
We were children once.
Rocco, I think that they will definitely get 50 to 52 seats. We're gonna throw this back to maps. So this is my last forecast. So we have 2 scenarios. The one on the left for people who have come up since I last brought them is if the UCP follows the PC's trends, and the one on the right is if they follow the Wild's Rose trends. Either way, we should be seeing 51 to 57 seats, and the UCP should win. There really doesn't seem to be a scenario right in my mind where they lose. Now, obviously, you can see in some of these that there's some really close ridings, so there could be some margin of error on the seat projections, but the general trend is the general trend. If that makes sense.
What do you think it'll take for Notley to step down? If the UCP gets 50 seats, do you think she'll leave?
Yes. If Notley doesn't get at least 40 seats, I think she's out.
When's the wedding and where's my invite?
I think we're doing a
Great question.
We're doing a smaller affair, I think. I don't think we're just going to
A little bit
invite
smaller.
everyone on a stream.
Slightly smaller than that.
Oh, Banff Kanaskus flips back in real time. It's clearly a competitive riding. Look at this, 100 and something votes.
That's like everyone that lives there.
Yeah. Apparently no one lives here.
They're all sleeping.
No one lives in...
They have a lot of parties going up. I don't know.
There's a silly amount of candidates going right now.
Can we get those maps? I want to download it. Do you make your maps downloadable?
All of my maps are available on my Twitter. If you can go on my Twitter and you can just search through the timeline and you can find them.
And you can just steal them.
And they are watermarked, so you can just do whatever you want with them. I guess you could remove the watermark, but why did she take down this post? That's weird. Anyways, I will link the Twitter in the chat for those who are not following me.
You should follow him on Twitter.
You should follow me. I do more punditry on Twitter than I do on YouTube.
Read 30 tweets a day.
YouTube, I do more like sober analysis, and I do more, to be cringe, more activist-y stuff on Twitter.
He is on Twitter 24/7. If you want more bagel content, you should follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, you'll see all the unfiltered random thoughts I have. Actually,
just unfettered calf posting.
No, I don't calf post too much. Though it does happen sometimes.
And just arguments with people.
That does happen.
He gets into arguments on Twitter. He's one of those. And talking to Miles, our Lord and Savior.
Miles Lunn is a fixture of election Twitter.
Oh, PF, that's a great idea. You should start doing YouTube shorts and call them Bagel Bites.
Oh, that's a flashback. Do you remember Bagel Bites?
Yes, I do. They were kind of not good.
What? They were legendary.
The cream cheese in them was subpar.
They were like 3 out of 10, but they were legendary.
I mean, they were legendary. Not saying you should put bagel pics on your Twitter. What's your banner image right now?
My banner image.
Are you really using Microsoft Edge?
I have 3 different browsers.
The number of tabs this man uses, it makes me itchy.
I work in software as a day job.
His browsers, you have no banner image.
I have no banner image.
Oh my god.
If only there was someone who had artistic talent.
Why isn't your stream background picture your like the bread box? Why isn't that your image? Are you live changing your banner image?
No.
Are we that bored?
We're gonna do that later. If UCP wins, does Miles delete his account, in your opinion? No. He's already said he's not going to delete it. If he deletes it, that would be betraying his own thing.
Wait, were people asking if he would?
Yes.
Wait, did he say a long time ago that he would delete his account or something?
No, people have been like, you're so He's still predicting 48 NDP seats.
Is that a win?
Yes.
Miles. I wish I had the confidence of Miles. Miles is like 48 and writes like a high schooler, and he's just so confident.
Miles has utter conviction in his convictions. What you can say many things about Miles Lund, but you cannot say that he doesn't have conviction.
The man is dedicated. What's the chance you think Rachel will lose her own seat?
-1 million. I would, if Rachel Notley loses her seat, or Notley, whatever, if she loses Edmonton Strathcona here, I will delete my channel. I will delete it live on stream. The stream will end, not because I ended it, because I deleted the channel.
Turn the microphone down. You're peaking everything. Yeah, that's better. I have the microphone all the way, like, I need you guys to know that when we stream, I'm basically, like, cradling the microphone in my lap, and he's far away from it, and he still peaks the shit out of it, and I'm barely even cresting into the yellow on OBS. Brian Brigette asked about Miles deleting his account yesterday. I
mentioned Diacor. Interesting. It is slightly going UCP right now, but there's still 17 polls reporting.
You had a far left woman going off on Twitter?
Was that the woman getting mad at me because I was against safe supply, which is stupid?
Wait, was that the old woman who was like, my friends have died to safe supply and I think it's great, or some shit like that?
I think so.
Nuke Zone channel, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
you gotta.
There's no way she loses. Like, I'll be honest.
Now you're nervous.
If Notley loses at Edmonton Strathcona, that's probably election fraud. There's no way that happened.
So UCP's got 50 seats called for them already.
I think that's comically premature considering the number of votes counted. I was about to say, look, Lethbridge East is something interesting, but then there's 3 votes cast. Why is there... Did everyone vote in the advanced polls and they're going last? What is this? What are you doing? What's it, uncensored?
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for your time. I think we're going to wrap that up there.
I'm helping. What about Alberta UCP? And she calls everyone there Hitler lovers. My god. Oh, the woman on Twitter.
Oh, the tanker boss. That makes more sense why you're asking if she's going to lose her seat then, because it's like the safest NDP seat in the entire country.
I see.
It's the middle of the orangest city in Alberta. It's literally the exact middle. She couldn't have picked a safer seat possible.
Edmonton Gold Bar.
I never noticed that, but that's funny.
That's great.
That's a great name.
Miles.
Hey, Miles.
Miles! What happened, buddy? It throws me off when I see his name because we know someone with a similar last name, and I always keep thinking it's like him. Angus.
Oh.
But it's
completely unrelated.
It's not, in no way related at all. It's just a similar sounding last name. It's not even the same last name. But I hear Miles Lund and I'm like, wait, didn't I go to school with him? No, I did not.
Yeah, Jason, I don't think there's a single hope he deletes his account. And honestly, I don't want him to
I don't
because
want Miles to leave. I
he's-
love Miles.
he adds some chaos to election Twitter.
I
What would it
love
be
Miles.
without Miles?
I was actually sad recently because I was trying to show my brother some examples of some peak Miles takes, and I couldn't find any. Because he was, like, talking about really boring stuff because the election was coming up, instead of just, like, classic Miles takes, and I was really upset about it.
The classic Miles takes.
Classic
is this-
Miles,
Oh.
actually Canadians all agree with me kinds of takes.
This is the slowest vote counting. This makes... I mean, it's only been an hour, but this feels like it's slower than Arizona, and that took them a week.
Didn't Arizona take, like, several months of recounting or something?
I don't even...
Or were they just talking about it for several months?
GL Rocco, Miles Lunn is, like, one of the more sizable Twitter accounts on Canadian election Twitter
Okay, but
circles.
size, you need to caveat this, because people I don't think follow Miles because they like him. I think they follow Miles because he's a spectacle. He's a spectator sport. He has a huge following compared to election Twitter, but, like, I don't think any of them are his fans, you know?
I think he has some fans.
I'm sure he has some fans, but I don't
But
think
I
he
think-
has 1,000 fans.
How many followers does he actually have?
He's got into the thousands.
On a side note, I definitely enjoy the person who's trolling my poll in chat that said other is going to win the Alberta election.
I think the pro-life coalition's gonna win.
I, for one, think Arthur Pavlovsky is going to do it. She's gonna win. Or, sorry, she's gonna win. He's going to win. He's gonna pull out the sneaky seat.
Hello, Jason. I'm not on Twitter in any capacity that would be relevant to this. I have a completely secret Twitter, but it's not political in the slightest, so it
And
wouldn't
she
be worth
very
it to
much
follow.
likes keeping it away from that. She
Yeah.
has actually muted my Twitter because it's
I
too
follow
political.
him, but I mute him because he fills up my fucking timeline because he's...
So, you know,
If you want more of him, follow him, but I get enough of him in the day, so I don't need him 30 times a day on my timeline.
If you want to do the autistic 4chan challenge, you can go search through all of my followers, and you might find her. But she's not gonna post anything of interest, I don't think.
My Twitter is shit posting, but like not even. It's me like saying that ninjas aren't cool and making reviews of Tom Cruise movies. That's pretty much it. Like my Twitter's not interesting.
I don't have the Jeb Bush image. Is there a Jared Bush? I feel like that's a name they would have.
There's a Jared. Is there a Jared Biden?
There's a Jared Kushner.
Maybe that's who we're thinking of. What the fuck is that? What?
This one?
What is,
This
what is that? Get him up there. That's way better. We got Jeb 2.0.
I'm introducing you to a brand new image.
He's not even transparent.
This is gonna be scuffed. Here we go. It's full screen.
This is the new Jeb.
We're doing this live.
Oh, it's not even, the aspect ratio is not even right. Why are you putting him up there? That's not where he goes. Oh, there's nowhere good to put him when he's not transparent.
He has to go this way.
Yeah, he'll be kind of small this time. There's Jeb.
We brought Jeb back.
He's appropriately blue for the occasion. What the fuck indeed, Tanker Boss?
See, little did you know that the reason why there's so few votes cast is we actually have done a concerted effort to write in Jeb Bush, and he's going to get 800,000 of the advanced poll ballots, every single one.
Pete Buttigieg?
Honestly, if they could get like a CBC or someone, or maybe me in the future when I have funding, could have like one of these interactive maps here, right? But they combine it with riding builders, so they report the precinct results live.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at Jeb.
That'd be legit.
His like Freddy Krueger arms.
What did they do? How did they?
So
manage
okay,
this?
I saw there's a picture that they photoshopped to just make his arms longer, but then they made it all weird. I hear people in the hallway.
Oh, that's what that was?
And I was wondering if they were yelling at us, but I think they're just talking. Because we're in, like, the least walls shared with neighbors part of our apartment.
We are
No one gets to complain.
some meters away.
I also want Jeb to win. Maybe the person voting other is voting for Jeb.
Hey, we got the 800,000 Jeb write-ins. Just wait till the advanced polls come in.
Wouldn't it be great if we could see which polls the results are coming from? Oh, you answered that, didn't you?
Yeah.
I'm personally going to each polling box and changing ballots
See-
to Jeb.
What we need here is we actually need systemic polling fraud to make Jeb win.
What did Jeb... So, like, Jeb Bush was a real candidate.
He was. He ran in 2016.
What party did
He
he
was
run
supposed to be the prohibitive front-runner Republican, and then Trump ran.
for? Poor Jeb.
My understanding,
Jeb didn't deserve that.
I don't follow U.S. politics too closely, especially back then. My understanding was he was the actually better of the Bush brothers.
The Bush brothers were pretty popular.
But, you know, he ran against
Jeb did not
Trump.
deserve that. Poor Jeb.
message retracted. You can retract messages in these live chats. Interesting.
Neat. I vote for Jeb.
Not a good start for the NDP in those constituencies. Again, early.
You should put on the Jeopardy theme song for the waiting on the votes.
This is slow. It feels slow. Am I wrong?
If we get to 1 a.m., I'm leaving you. I'm leaving you for dead. I'm just going to bed. Just FYI.
We'll just call the election at 1 a.m. regardless of who wins.
We're calling it for Danielle at 1 o'clock. I don't care what the votes say. My friends on USET assure me that Jeb was a great Florida governor. Neat.
That's what I've heard too, but I
vote Jeb for his love because he is my love father. Okay.
How many Florida governors will try to be the Republican nominee, but sadly fail?
That is one that we are certainly watching. That's Tyler Shandro's riding. So she is leading. So this is significant at this point in the night.
We are at a very slow moment here. There's not too much. We don't have many seats left that are completely unaccounted for. Of the ones that are completely unaccounted for, I'm going to bring back the map here for a second. We have Lethbridge West, which should be relatively safe NDP. We have Rimber, Rocky Mountain House Sundry, which should be relatively safe UCP. We have Calgary Pagan. I feel like that's not how you pronounce that, but we're going for it anyways. Which I've already called as UCP winning, with 0 votes cast. But I've already called that, so that's another one. Calgary, or Beddington, is a swing riding in Calgary. McCall is probably safe NDP. So we really should be expecting like 52 to 34 here. Wait, did I miss some? Nope, I guess that is it. Maybe I counted wrong. Oh yeah. Yeah, 52 to 34 with 1 swing riding. Yeah, that seems to be the remaining ones. Unsurprising. Now, some of these, such as Cardenston Siksika and Calgary West, should be safe UCP. But then on the flip side, oh, and also, you know, wow, they just slept overnight. And other places like Bonnyville, Cold Lake, St. Paul should be safe UCP. But on the flip side, we would assume Edmonton, Beverly, Clearview, and Edmonton Decorah should be safe NDP. Just a matter of what? And that was actually a very big drop. We gained like 20,000 ballots.
Poor Edmonton's just this little island of orange in a vast sea of blue.
Oh, now Tabor Warner with
Jasmine.
3 whole votes. What a millennial spelling of Jasmine. You know, this is not. This is looking pretty good. Now, obviously, there's still probably another 1.8 million votes still, but if they break as they currently are breaking, which is a terrible assumption, you should never assume this. All's going well.
Chris promised great dabbing.
If I am right, especially if, as I bring up here, this scenario is correct, oh, you won't hear the end of it.
We should make a video just about Jeb Bush with all the crazy pics. That'd be so funny to watch.
Oh no.
That could be your April Fool's video.
3 whole votes in, and Calgary Pagans go on NDP. Darn.
Saeed Ahmed is going to win it.
Which riding is Saeed Ahmed in? Because
Probably flashed up there for a minute at some point.
there is like 87 ridings. I was just say 78. Oh no! What?
I'm yawning again.
Darth Lexie. Revenge of the... I can't come up with a pun in that time.
3 votes too many. Indeed. What's up with this gray swath? That's the one riding they won't call early.
There's no votes cast.
Bruh.
Edmonton
You have
decor.
23 precincts to count. Hurry the fuck up.
That is the wrong riding.
Thank you, and here we go. Some breaking news that we can tell you here at this moment. CTV is declaring the leader of the UCP, Danielle Smith.
He could, Saeed Ahmed. He could win that.
So CTV is
Oh.
officially declaring that Danielle Smith has been reelected.
Let's see.
Yeah, considerable.
There's 13 out of 30 polls in.
And Barry Morishita, the
She has a 1,000 vote lead.
so we'll see what happens
That
with him after this election.
feels a bit aggressive, but you know, there was no doubt she was going to win, so sure. I'll allow it. I'll allow the call.
They're just as bored as we are.
Probably, because the voting is taking so long.
Devon Chamber of Commerce and Spruce Grove Chamber of
I would say at this point,
So,
assuming everything continues in the direction it's going,
flip, as
the UCP should win easily.
margin there.
Like, this would require the remaining polls to break
Hiring Andrew
very differently, and it's not impossible, but by polling, unlike the US,
Okay, Jeff, we've got
the
a couple of electeds.
voter partisanship on election day, on advanced polls, and on mail-in ballots, there's not many mail-in ballots, by the way, but the election partisanship on all of those is basically the same, so we shouldn't expect them to break any different. They might, but we shouldn't expect it. It's really just the different precincts that are going to break differently, and if some of these precincts in some of these rural areas, like Brooks, Medicine Hat, the ones that could swing it have already been counted, then yeah, that's what it is. If I had a better setup and more resources, we could have totally this by precinct, and that is a long-term goal. Oh, I should close this. I apologize. When I have more resources, we will have this done. We will have a precinct map for future elections. That is the long-term goal.
Oh boy.
What?
It's a lot.
A lot of precincts?
A lot of precincts.
When we're doing that, I'm going to have employees, and they will be doing all the hard work.
And then I can go to bed.
Maybe you can be tapped out, unless you want to do it.
Yeah. I'm glad the internet's holding up.
Yeah, actually, I have a terrible internet connection for my work, but apparently it's fine for streaming.
I think your work's just really finicky.
It actually hates me. It's like, you got packet lasted for 2 seconds. We're gonna disconnect you from all the stupid system. But streaming is apparently fine, because no one's complained so.
This probably wasn't
shut
one
up.
that we were going to
What
Stop.
did you do?
flip.
Shut up. Apparently my earphone's disconnected.
Your earphones are too tired.
Oh, I think they literally died. Okay. Well, I don't need coverage.
Her earphones are, I mean, they're not really saying anything interesting so far. I've been listening in on them, and it's just really been banal. Which is why I've had them minimized. Well, they're technically still there.
They're peeking in on the left. So we can still pretend we have coverage.
57 to 39 so far. We're actually starting to get a reasonable number of votes. Let's look at the third parties. Where are the third parties at, though? Flash forward 4 years, and the Great Canadian Bagels and Mass Media Corporation. You bet. I have a 7-year plan. And we're on track so far, lads.
Jordan Peterson would be proud.
Jeremy Thompson, let's head to you now. UCP
Look, you got him.
Oh my god, there is a Communist Party.
Yeah?
Oh, I thought that was a joke.
No?
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, your response was a good joke, though.
51 people have voted for them.
51 whole
51 whole people.
51 people who want to destroy the Albertan economy.
How many of those people voted for the Communists for memes?
I'm going to say 51 of them. Of these, the Alberta Party is still beating the Green Party. Green Party voters in shambles. Otherwise, this is pretty much going as intended, though. Honestly, if we scale this up, and this is like 2 million votes, some of these third parties, like the Independence Party of Alberta, the Solidarity Movement, will actually have quite a few votes. Now, they're not going to scale that way because they have like 3 candidates, but we can dream. We can dream. But thus far, not too much. Let's actually check in some of these. Maybe there's... Nope. Ah. Yes, the one vote again.
Good old Muhammad.
I'm going to laugh really hard if tomorrow this is like the number of votes cast.
Turns out only one person voted.
It's like, who won the Alberta election? The UCP. By how many votes? 37,000 were cast.
I don't know, the NDP's gonna have to work pretty hard to catch up if these are in any way accurate.
If these are proportional, this is the election. The really question is this proportional? And some of these we can actually assume, like riding-wise, like again, Bonneville, Cold Lake, St. Paul, and Tabor-Warner were easily expecting to go UCP. So right now, we could see 56 seats in the UCP easily and comfortably, and 57 is impossible. Sorry, not impossible. Is a possibility too with something like Calgary Pagan, which I think will still go UCP. And things like Lethbridge East are still potential because we're only at 1 poll in, or 1 precinct count. So there's plenty of movement to go, but we'll see. We really need the next boat drop. It'll probably be in like 5 minutes, honestly.
If your prediction is right on seats, I bet you'll be very happy because that'll be the first time you got the seats out right.
I'm bad at seat projections, to be honest, so I would be very happy if I actually got the seats right for once.
When do you project to hit 1,000 subscribers?
Oh. Next year or maybe either the next year or the next Canadian election, depending on what happens first.
He gets like roughly a subscriber every day or so.
I get a subscriber about every 150 views on Canadian videos, so...
Like clockwork, actually.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, the 150th view comes in, I get a subscriber more or less. So, that's why you should always share the videos. You might not think it does anything, but it does.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Do all those YouTube... You should like the stream right now.
Ring the bell.
You should subscribe to the stream. You're probably already subscribed.
Smash that like button. Ring the bell. Subscribe.
What you need to do is you need to draw a picture of my channel on a piece of paper and fold it into a paper airplane and throw it out in the street to spread the word.
I'm attached
to... for Bonneville, Cold Lake, St. Paul, that's possible. I mean, you could take a look. There's a couple of precincts in this area that are yellow, so it's a good chance. Yeah, what you need to do is you need to take the like button and nuke it from orbit. Okay, absolutely annihilate it. Just biding time here for the next poll bounce will probably be 3 minutes, I'm thinking.
Destroyed that like button. Thank you, Hacksource.
Does anyone have any other things? Any questions? Any comments? Any concerns?
Did you get Marin's one?
We've been talking a lot about the overdose crisis.
Yes.
Within our panel.
I was not paying attention.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
The tax man is going to come and take the attention from you then.
The tax man takes enough from me.
You guys weren't there, but when she find out how much taxes she was going to be paying on her salary for the law student position? Is that what it's actually called?
Summer student position.
Summer student position? She was so angry.
No, I'm lying. The article and clerk position for the full year.
That one then.
Yeah, it's like a little bit more than what I'm paid for the summer student position. Yeah, I was angry because they pay me $53,000 a year, and Nova Scotia decides that warrants taking 35% of my income. Like, bruh. Don't want to destroy the button because that button will not work for others. That's considerate of you, Rocco. That's a good point.
What you need to do is destroy one button and build a new one. Yeah, we do live in a very high tax jurisdiction. Meanwhile, Alberta over here, lowest taxes in Canada.
And I think too, we need to note that what it's really doing is sending the message.
I could cry.
That, you know, if I
And then I think about like my friend in New Jersey, who I told her what the taxes were, and she's like, "Oh my god," like I couldn't even fathom it, because I think their taxes like in the teens or something.
Oh man.
I OJ'd that like.
The taxes in the U.S. are so much lower. It actually blows your mind when you actually look at the numbers on it.
I think the correct way to phrase that is our taxes here are so high.
And then what do we get for them?
Nothing. What the fuck do we get for them? Literally, what do we get that they don't get? Nothing. Do we get healthcare? No. No, we don't.
Hey, you'll
Go to an emergency room and tell me how much healthcare you're getting.
They'll give you, you know, a lethal injection. That's something. Actually, I don't think that's literally lethal injection. I think they just give you a cocktail of pills you take yourself.
No, it's actually an injection.
Is it actually?
It's actually a series of gross intravenous. I had to read a very graphic step-by-step of how that works, and it made me cry. It's awful.
It's awful.
My joke on new land, get wood from the woods. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that from last time, Raka. I think made is free. Made is free. 100%.
Free in the sense that we already paid for it by our taxes. This would be the ultimate swing of the night. Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, broke NDP. That actually happened. But this is probably the native reserves voted. That's probably what it was.
Oof.
Man.
Check out the toupee on this guy.
Oh, well. Let's see the toupee. That looks fake as heck.
Yeah, tell me that's on his head.
The funny thing is...
Wait, is that woman's name Livingston?
No.
Oh, no, that's the writing. Oh my gosh, okay. For a sec, because like, that almost looked like a name, because the last name, quote-unquote, was McLeod. Made is the Canadian government's version of OJ. Oh my god.
They just pay OJ to show up to your hospital bed.
Oh, Jesus.
I think it's getting on verging on slander, so...
Is it?
This was a joke. Because, well, I mean, he was acquitted.
He murdered a bitch.
I don't know, man.
And a man.
I don't know, man. I don't want to get sued by OJ.
I mean, that was... How many years ago? That was like 30 years ago, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion on safe injection drug facility in a downtown city center? Oh, you should follow him on Twitter. You should follow Chris on Twitter.
Long story short.
This is all he talks about.
Drug addicts need healthcare, not poison. That's my new slogan.
This is literally all he talks about on Twitter, like all day, every day. This is the drum that he beats right now. It's not slander if someone has been tried. Well, it would be because he was acquitted, and if then you're saying that he was guilty and he wasn't, it might be slander. I don't know. I don't know how slander works. Oh my god, I know where my cat is. What?
What?
Base.
Oh, the toupee guy.
Oh.
Oh,
it's late at night.
This is slow. Like,
yeah,
where are these vote drops?
Chris does not like Safe Supply, and he,
No, it's actually one of the worst.
He pretty much loves every politician that dislikes them.
Anyone, I will immediately...
That's something that Peter is really strong on, actually. It's a hot topic in my town. People are pissed that they put it next to new businesses and housing. I would be, too. It's bad for everybody involved.
It's bad. It kills the drug addicts instead of helping them get off drugs. And then it brings crime into the areas because, obviously, you've brought drugs into the areas.
Turns out when people are high, they do crime.
Or, what they'll do is they will sell the drugs that you gave them from the Safe Supply, and then they'll use those money from those drugs to buy real drugs.
Mm-hmm.
But then they sold those other drugs, so they brought the drug dealers to this area. It's just bad. It's bad.
Also, aren't they ostensibly doing it to reduce overdoses somehow?
Yes.
Because for some reason they got it in their head that the only reason people overdose on opioids is because they have worse opioids in them secretly from like being laced with fentanyl or some shit. As if you can't just take too much of an opioid,
And
which is
also, drug addicts these days, like opioid addicts, are just buying fentanyl.
that too. But like the end stage of opiate addiction is an overdose. That is always where it gets to. If you don't quit, you die because you need to take more every time.
The thing with that is, it's not controversial. You talk to actual medical professionals, not these sycophantic big pharma bought and paid for shills. They will tell you drug addiction is a disease that ends in death. If it is not treated, you die.
It's a terminal illness.
It's terminal disease. Yeah, the UCP is destroying the popular vote.
PF is 1000% on your side with safe supply. Horrid and only helps the farm companies, honestly.
It is.
By the way, who the fuck is legally selling fentanyl in Canada? Who got that contract?
I think there's a store in BC
Like,
right
okay,
now that sells fentanyl legal,
okay.
well, quasi-legally.
Pardon me, who's selling heroin legally? Because heroin, there's no legal version of heroin as far as I know. There are legal, like, you can buy, like, fentanyl is a legal drug. Like, they give it to hospital patients. It's not a good idea, but it is legal. It's just very widely abused. A lot of opiates are legal, but heroin is not. But yeah, isn't it ostensibly supposed to be a solution for overdoses?
Yeah, because
like, it's not even supposed to be a solution for, like, AIDS through needle sharing or shit like that, or homelessness
the
or
idea
whatever. Like,
behind
it's literally
it
for overdoses.
is they give addicts a version of the drug that will get them high on opioids still, but it's a measured and controlled dose so they won't overdose. But the thing is,
I'm sure that's very well supervised.
most addicts knowingly take the amount that will cause an overdose if you talk to enough of them. Many of them know that they're going to overdose, but they still do it anyways because they're addicted to drugs. Like, they're not taking the overdose because they're dumb and they don't know how to measure properly. They're taking they overdose because they're so addicted to drugs they just can't stop themselves from overdosing.
It's very tragic.
It's really depressing.
Because people act like it's some kind of free choice to take drugs when it is very much not.
Oh, we got a vote drop. Let's investigate here. We're investigating. It looks like a bunch of seats in. Calgary moved. Oh, it's still only 2 polls in, so it doesn't really tell us much. But, you know, NDP's in lead and elbow. Curry, again in lead. We kind of expected Curry to go NDP anyways. So
Wait. Click that writing again.
Calgary Curry?
Minister of Mental Health and Addiction. Sorry, we were just talking about that. I thought that. For a second, I thought that was the NDP person. I was gonna make a joke, but that's the NDP person, so it might be okay.
Edgemont. A lot of these are very close, so there's some wiggle room here. Not saying too much. This drop. Calgary low. This ballot drop did not tell us much. Oh, there were some of these seats in Edmonton that were dubiously going to Conservatives are now back NDP. That was a boring vote drop. It closed the seats a lot, though. Oh, actually, let's see. Let's look at... No, that's... It's really hard to do this when all the votes are counting so slow. And when they do drop, it's such a small amount with so many precincts still left that it's just like, what's going to happen? I don't know. Why is it so slow? Yeah, I'm pretty sure Calgary Lougheed is only NDP because there's 6 votes or 11 votes cast. So
what they've been telling me is that they've been inspired by the message the NDP have been giving throughout the campaign and leading up to it, and that they've been that Smith's message has not.
Apparently, 15% of voting places have been Is this going to be a ridiculously low turnout election? Let's see. If 15% of precincts are in, I mean, we do some really basic math. 24. That'd be technically very low, but machine issue. What? This is why I don't like when people use voting machines. They suck. They're slow. They seem to be error prone. And by error prone, I mean for counting purposes. Like slowing counting down. If this was done by, if it was all hand counted, it'd probably be done by now. Oh well.
Oh, your poll is done.
This one. Oh, I mean, actually, while I'm on it, might as well plug the poll. I have been running a poll for a while now, for the month of May, about Canadian election, their political views.
And today's the last day to do it because it's May 30th.
Yes. Well, in Nova Scotia. I'll dump it in chat here, and you should all fill it out if you have not filled it out, and you should send it to other people who might want to do it. It'd be fun.
Fill out the poll. If you find yourself not sure what to answer that's intended, you are meant to guess.
Yep.
It kind of threw some people off.
Yeah, I'm expecting most people in this, watching this stream, probably have already done it, but maybe you didn't. I never know. I usually get a couple people more. Yeah, Rocco, once I'm done all the stuff with this poll, and then I do a few more things to bump sample size, like I'm going to dump it on like Reddit and stuff. I want to do that after I finish gathering from people who follow me on Twitter or watch my videos on YouTube, just because I want to be able to be like, this is this audience, and this is random people I found on the rest of the internet for sample size.
That could be something that could influence their vote and potentially flip the riding.
Let's take a look at how Sherwood Park ended up in the 2019 election. So you can see the UCP did win. The NDP were the previous winners in 2015, but in 2019 it was the UCP taking 45% of the vote.
Yeah, next month is probably the plan for when that is going to be discussed at some point.
So let's take a look at where Sherwood Park is right now in terms of votes.
Drayton Valley has been called. Yes, it has. See, this one's actually been counting relatively quickly. It's only 18 out of 38, but, you know, we would expect around this number of votes. And the other one that's been called is Brooks Medicine Hat, which really was never in doubt. We're very slow tonight. I don't... Oh, we got more votes dropped. We're now about 130-ish thousand. We're getting the small precincts done first, so it's hard to say what this would be overall vote count wise, but you know, eventually we'll get somewhere.
Where they truly should be. So
it's suffering.
That is a pretty big margin for her to take back that seat here tonight. Plenty more results.
Dayton Valley has also been called.
I
think that'll be an election in fall for national.
Yeah, the people who thought Smith would actually lose her seat were just wish casting. That was never a thing that was going to happen. Oh, we're gonna mute the audio for a second because they're displaying a commercial. I am not going to give CTV's commercials airtime. I think this might be the slowest counting. This is the slowest counting I've ever seen for a Canadian election. This is really slow. Like, we're at like less than, let's say 10% of expected votes have been counted so far. Why is this so slow? Yeah, that's another one here called. If we scroll down, we can see it. So far, we're really just getting ridings called that no one has reasonable doubt on. See, some of these Alberta or Calgary ridings have actually real votes cast in them so far. Varsity has a real quantity, and that is a riding that the NDP probably were going to win, but wasn't necessarily guaranteed, so that is minor interest, though not the most interest. Pardon me. But of the ones that I wasn't expecting to win, like, let's see, East here, not a lot of votes. Acadia, some votes, but extremely close. Elbow, extremely close and not a lot of votes. So we're really just kind of treading water right now. Banff Kanaskas, 20 precincts left, and NDP are actually pulling to a decent lead, so they might be able to snake this one up, but that was expected, so that's not surprising so far. This would be a lot easier if there was more stuff to be doing. So it looks like overall, with the rules being called here, that we're starting to count in really quick here, the UCP's overall vote share is climbing rapidly again. We're now almost back to a 20-point lead. But I'm not expecting that to stay once the cities count. It's going to narrow down. It's just a matter of how much, and it's not clear where that is yet. This was named after her father? Central Peace Notley here? Huh.
Oh
that makes sense, but never crossed my mind. This was one that was never in doubt, but, it's kind of funny.
Does she come from, like, a political background? I guess she must.
Yeah, her dad was leader of the Alberta NDP for a while, I believe.
Ugh.
I mean, you act like her being put in the NDP was a surprise. Let's see, is there anything else? Any other questions from chat? Anyone have anything they want to say? Do talk. Questions for the Bagel team? Because at this point, we're just kind of waiting on more of these.
We're trying not to fall asleep. It's riveting stream content, I'm sure.
It's a lot easier again when there's actually... What? Did more votes just bright? Oh my god.
What is the difference between a declined ballot and a rejected ballot?
Rejected is they filled it out, but they filled it out wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And a declined ballot is they showed up, asked for a ballot, and then returned it.
What's the point of that?
Protest.
Oh my god, that's cringe.
I do not sell bagels. Though, if I ever become a successful or make a successful company, we will probably merch bagels for the meme.
Her dad employed Jordan Peterson for a bit, like as a university professor, because he
probably
was
as a political activist.
Oh, when he was a baby. Oh, I get.
177,000 votes cast and 20% of precincts reported. Extremely slow.
Federal election in the fall?
I think there's about a 20% chance of federal election in the fall. I don't think it's very likely, but it is possible. The 20% was just kind of a number I just invented, but it is conceivable, but unlikely to me. It really depends on if Singh decides to torpedo the government over the election interference stuff, but I don't really think it's going to happen. I don't think Singh has the constitution to force a confidence vote. See, intentionally spoiling your ballot by doing something silly on it is less cringe than taking the ballot and then returning it.
You drove all the way there just to do nothing with your ballot. I would have just stayed home.
The public inquiry is probably going to do nothing,
also,
Rocco, unless they... Because if they try to do anything with it, Trudeau will definitely make it a confidence motion. So either it's going to be nothing, or it's going to torpedo the government. It just really depends on whether Singh wants to do it.
About spoiling ballots, too, just going to be real with you. Not any different than just not voting. You spoil your ballot, you don't get to complain about who wins.
Unless you make it everybody, and then I guess you can probably complain still.
No.
What if your options are Mao Zedong and Joseph Stalin?
All I'm saying is your spoiled ballot matters just as much as people that didn't vote at all. No, literally nobody looks at spoiled ballots and thinks, I'm going to take this act of protest to heart.
But yeah, Marin, I agree with you. I don't see Singh actually having enough of a backbone to do this. The only reason why he would is if the rest of his party threatens to mutiny or actually breaks whip. I don't think it's likely at all, but it is,
Rocco wants Mao Zedong
possible.
and Joseph Stalin. He wants OJ politicians.
Could you imagine how fast Canada would fall apart if we were run by Joseph Stalin and Mao Zedong tag team?
I mean, that could be any country. Any country would fall apart that fast.
I think Canada has worse fundamentals than most countries, though.
Fundamentals.
The economy's not very great. The housing market's terrible. Political stability's pretty bad. Like, genuinely, Canada's only politically stable because Alberta and Quebec hate each other, but they also hate Ontario.
How does that create stability?
It creates stability because it's a Mexican standoff. Unironically, I think if Quebec leaves, Canada dies. Like, the whole country's going to disintegrate.
Base. Nova Scotia was never meant to be part of this.
Lexie is strong supporter of the Anti-Confederation Party.
Yes, so was everyone in Nova Scotia at the time.
That is true.
You want to pull up a picture of Nova Scotia's voting map in that year? I love that you know what year that was, and it's in your recent searches.
We have no map, but,
There is a map. There's a map somewhere, I swear to God.
I think someone mapped it on Twitter. But I don't have it right here. So, we had 61% voted the Anti-Confederation Party in 1867.
But here's the thing about 61%. That's of the popular vote.
Yeah.
It was every riding. Every riding won. The whole country, the whole province was orange. That was, 36 anti-Confederation seats. 2 Confederation seats. That was the vote. And then Charles Tupper was like, how about I do it anyway? Yes!
That's not the right party.
That's what it kind of looked like, though. That's not the right election, either.
Oh, we have this one.
Oh, that's weird.
This is the federal version, but...
Yeah. Look at Chad Joseph Howe over here. Look at all of Nova Scotia voting for him.
Except Cumberland County. Even then, it was conservative stronghold.
In 1867.
Cumberland County, for those not hip on the Nova Scotia, is one of the strongest. Did Fournier call it to the UCP, I assume?
Whoa.
What?
I'm sorry. Janice Irwin was just listed as woman and sexuality issues critic or some shit. I don't know. I wish I could have caught that. That was so stupid.
There's good money that if there is a decisive defeat tonight for the NDP, that she might become the next leader of the NDP.
That's a she?
I think.
Oof.
Oh my god, Notley got re-elected. Could you imagine? Now the interesting question is, if Notley steps down as leader, does she step down from her seat?
That'd be kind of shitty.
Does she just sit there and collect the taxpayer check from a riding that she can't possibly lose in no matter what she does?
Well, they voted for her to do her fucking job. Can't just say, thanks for the votes, bye.
Like, Notley could probably stab a dog and they would still vote for her. Because she's NDP.
That's gross.
Same reason, it's like, no matter what anyone cared about Jennifer Johnson's comments, that was kind of a non-issue, or not a non-controversy. But there was never any doubt she's going to win this riding.
What did Jennifer Johnson do?
She was complaining about, something related to trans issues.
Based?
And I don't recall the exact comments, but They're like, this is an American-style commentary.
Based?
She's an Americanized.
Listen, I'm already sold. You gotta stop digging. Dude, it's 1 o'clock. Alberta, I'm gonna need you to hurry the fuck up. What is it, like 10 for them now?
Yes. We are in...
I saw the bars move. Something changed.
We're getting... It's looking like it might be entrenching into 52-35 here. Let's look at some of these writings in Calgary again. I'll zoom down so we can... or scroll down so we can actually have a good view. We're actually getting... Okay, we're now starting to get real numbers of votes here. Got it. This is good. Cool beans. Calgary Elbow is still close. Katie is still extremely close. Pagan has almost no votes cast, so it doesn't really matter. Calgary East almost has no votes cast, so it doesn't really matter. So in Calgary, we have 4 seats that the NDP are currently winning that are of interest, that the UCP could win. There are a couple of UCP seats that are also of interest around up here that the NDP could win. Oh, and probably Calgary Klein itself, yeah. And Calgary Cross. Actually, Calgary... I mean, this is still close enough that it could be in play, but we're starting to see some gap pull here. So, the overall election seems to still be in consideration, but it is rapidly closing with every drop here. Even though the popular vote numbers keep swinging, it's still closing in. Edmonton is starting to look exactly how this forecast has forecasted Edmonton. Oh, give or take, actually, that is incorrect. I meant to do this one. Nope, that was on wrong too. Okay, never mind. Ignore me. Edmonton is counting quickly here. That's actually bad for the NDP overall vote share. But it is you saying that you're...
I'm dying.
You're dying. I'm also getting late here, so we've run out of things to say tonight, and this is counting painfully slow.
We will be up until 6 o'clock if we follow this the whole way. Like, we can't do it.
No. So we're going to be, I think, wrapping up.
Oh, holy shit, that is a woman. Oh, honey, your mouth's too big. Minimize the map for a second so they can see this train wreck.
No, Rocco, I do not think they are intentionally slow rolling this for TV, though that'd be hilarious.
I fully believe that electric machines are just being slow. I gotta put the curtains on the rod. Oh my gosh.
So we have one final wave of questions here. You have 3 minutes if you have not asked a question, and then we will be bowing out, and I will put a call. The call probably not going to surprise anyone. Buzz, your girlfriend. She is not my girlfriend, PF. This is my fiance.
That's true. Show some damn respect. I've been promoted.
She's been promoted.
He's been promoted.
Yes, I'm also a fiance.
I guess I kind of promoted you.
It's a mutual promotion?
Because I said yes.
Yeah.
Stay up? No. Dude, I gotta go do legal research tomorrow.
I have a job.
Is there a more fun Alberta politics fact than Rachel Notley and Jordan Peterson being childhood friends? Is that true?
Yeah, they were childhood friends.
Wow. What a cunt.
The one thing I find I'm curious on, either would they still be friends unofficially?
I don't know. I mean, has she like badmouthed him in public?
I've not heard it. It doesn't mean hasn't happened.
Well, if she hasn't come to his defense, that's just as bad. Because the man, like, lost his job. They're threatening him with losing his medical license. Like, he's still greatly under attack in Alberta.
See, what's gonna happen, right, Jared, is we're gonna call this in 2 minutes. And I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna wake up in the morning, and then every remaining vote is gonna cast NDP. And the NDP will have like 3 million votes. That's how this always happens. Whenever I go to bed, everything goes to shit.
Oh, that's from the Home Alone thing. Oh, I remember that. Okay. I think she's out of your league, Chris. Yeah. I'm content with that.
Is she out of my league if she said yes?
I did say yes. It was a really nice ring.
Sadly, it's currently not with us.
It's not with us.
It had to be resized because she has small hands.
I got small little hands.
I don't think you want. She has like a size 4.5 finger.
I got little fingers.
What size is 4.5? You might say. What unit does it measure?
We don't know.
Apparently, it's UK letter sizes.
Nobody knows. It's a size I.
Whatever that means.
If you need to know my finger size, now you know.
She has small fingers. But yeah.
And when we get it back, it's gonna look like cartoonishly small.
Is it?
Because it'll be the same size diamond, but the band will be way smaller.
That's true. Well, we hit 1 a.m. here. I will put this back up for a second so we can see it. We have about 300,000, give or take, votes cast. Probably closer to 260. The Green Party's apparently in third place. Oh, sorry, fourth place now, because Alberta took second place again. UCP has a 7 or 16-point lead, just as another vote dump happened here. And they're leading 51-36. I'm going to call it UCP. We don't know for sure. Things could happen differently. But unfortunately, this is Nova Scotia, and apparently Alberta decides to have a time zone in the past.
Cringe.
27% counted. So I would say it's very likely the UCP win at this point, but we will not see the end of it for tonight. But with that, I will bid you all adieu for the night and probably take the week off. We'll see. Maybe there'll be a surprise video. It depends on how much effort I have tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Definitely won't have any effort on Saturday, though.
See ya.
But with that, we bid you adieu, and we will see you someday.
Good night.
Bye.